world's too big, Mom.
Then make it small. Focus on my voice. Pretend it's an island out in the ocean. Can you see it?
I see it.
You just have to decide what kind of man you want to grow up to be, Clark. Whoever that man is, he's going to change the world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to an exciting week at the movies. This week, we're going to talk about Man of Steel.
Goodbye, my son. Our hopes and dreams travel with you.
He'll be an outcast. I'll kill him.
How? He'll be a god to them.
To say I was a fan of Superman growing up would be a bit of an understatement. I watched the first couple films like it was a religion. I remember almost every scene and could quote almost every word. The only movies that I remember more outside of the Disney movies were Star Wars and Batman, but Superman always had a special place in my heart because I remembered it being my dad's favorite. And since movies were the thing that most connected me to my father, it is safe to say Superman was a big connector. So when I got the opportunity to see Superman Returns with my dad in a theater in my 20s, I have to admit that I enjoyed it. It had a lot of the qualities that made the original films endearing. However, it did not age well, and for a good reason. Superman is the most powerful superhero of them all, and we still had yet to see him in real action. As other superhero films moved into full gear over the last 8 years, Superman was dead in the water. I honestly didn't know if I'd ever get to see Superman reach his full potential. Luckily, it appears that director Christopher Nolan felt the same way, and since his brilliant Dark Knight trilogy made Warner Brothers billions, they were willing to give him what he wanted. And he wanted Superman. He wanted to see him fly. He wanted to see him punch. He wanted to see him bash bad guys through buildings and shoot them with lasers. He wanted to see him kick ass. And kick ass is exactly what Superman does in this movie.
You believe your son is safe? I will find him!
My father believed that if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
There is so much ass kicked in this movie that they could have just taken the name Kick-Ass from the other inferior comic franchise and slapped a Superman on the front. If the Avengers finally brought the potential of spectacle we should expect with superheroes, then Man of Steel solidifies it as the next stage in blockbuster evolution. I don't think many people will complain. Yet, Nolan and writer David Goyer knew that in order to make a modern audience connect, they needed to humanize this fantastical character. They needed to make a man who could fly and shoot lasers relatable. This is no easy task, but I'm happy to say that I believe they were successful. By combining the Nolan playbook with a bit of what made the new Star Trek reboot so fantastic, this film manages to deliver amazing set pieces while taking its characters at face value and exploring the difficulty of being a man with so many gifts. The film also takes very seriously the idea of a boy, of two worlds and two fathers, a boy caught between two ideas of who he should be and forced to decide on his own. A boy who loses both his fathers and must spend most of his life lost and searching. All of this is wonderfully conveyed in this film. Now, I might be able to argue that there could have been a little more of his upbringing, but this would be nitpicking a film that moved me to tears like 4 times over the course of its running time. Plus, let's remember that we got one scene each of Spock and Kirk as a child, and that worked brilliantly as well. This brings me to the talented team of actors and the talented director that put this thing together. It really is a dream team. From moment one, you know you are in the presence of something special. And for the first 20 minutes or so, this movie is Russell Crowe's for the taking. He makes you completely forget that Marlon Brando ever played this role before. Jor-El is a superhero all his own here, and his battle against Zod's army to save his son and preserve the essence of Krypton is the best opening to any film all year. From here on, we meet a slew of characters, from Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent and Diane Lane as Martha Kent to Amy Adams as the iconic Lois Lane, and they are all wonderful. While Costner does not get as much screen time as I might have liked, the time he is there is unforgettable. Every line he utters is memorable and enough to send a chill up or down your spine depending on how you feel it. Diane Lane is also wonderful as Martha. There's a lot of feeling there, almost like Aunt May put across in the original Spider-Man. And I can't tell you how happy I am to say that. I've heard mixed things from many people about Amy Adams, but I think she absolutely owns this role. I cannot imagine another actress that could better match the traits of Lois Lane's character. She is smart, she is fearless, and she will stop at nothing to get her story. Yet she also knows what is right and wrong, and will do the right thing every time. She's a character young girls can admire, and although her connection to Superman is less romantic than before, it is still important. Then we have Henry Cavill in the lead role. I'm not sure how to compare him to Christopher Reeve, but I can tell you he owns this role through and through. The old role was largely about playing an insecure Clark Kent and a confident Superman so that we could believe nobody would be able to tell they were the same. This role is entirely different. The new Clark is a mostly quiet, introspective, and lost man that is searching for himself. Even when he puts on the suit, his transformation is not complete. It takes the entire film for him to come into his own as the Man of Steel. This finally brings us to director Zack Snyder. I personally believe that Snyder was the perfect choice to helm this project. He understands visual effects very well, and Nolan knew how important being able to navigate these spectacular visuals would be. So it made perfect sense to give the director's chair to a director that can make big action movies in his sleep. But I still have to give him credit for taking a completely different approach visually to this than any of his previous works, and in turn delivering a really exciting and emotional experience. Last but not least, I have to commend the god amongst men that is Hans Zimmer. His score for this film is truly a character itself, and adds gravity to everything it touches. His piano plays a big role in adding that extra push towards manipulating the audience's emotions in the character-based sequences. Plus, every character's individual score is memorable. I love Zod's music and the action themes. They are so exciting and unforgettable. But it's Superman's theme that really soars. It may never replace the memory of John Williams' iconic work, but it comes close. His music, Snyder's direction, Nolan's story, and these wonderful performances all come together to deliver a film that is sure to catch the summer audiences on fire and make a whole new generation believe that a man can fly all over again. I highly recommend Man of Steel.
My brother!
That's gonna do it for this week, and I hope you had a great time here at Red Carpet Crash.